Custom exams offer the flexibility for you to create a variety of tests, whether you want those to be a pop quiz, chapter exam, midterm, or final. You can create exams as far in advance as you like because students will not be able to take a test until it is scheduled. For those that use LabSim via integration, these tests can be linked directly to your learning management system. Click the Custom Exams tab. First, let me point out that if you are looking for a test another instructor has created in your organization, or for the office end of chapter exams TestOut has created, click View. Then click the drop-down arrow under Created By to choose TestOut or the instructor. You can also filter, if preferred, by product. I'm going to exit here and click Add. Enter an exam name. For higher education organizations, we recommend to use your course number as part of that name. Click the drop-down arrow under the post-exam viewing options and select your preference. Enter instructions for students. Of course, this is optional. Enter a passing score, as well as a time limit, and also enter any notes you would like to make to yourself. And then click Go to Questions and Labs. Click the drop-down arrow under the exam type and select your preference. Click Select Questions. Click the drop-down arrow for source to select the product you want to choose questions from. Under Filters, select the option or options you prefer. It's important to note here that not all sections or chapters will include questions the students haven't seen in the course. Now, with the filtering options selected, I'll exit that. I'll go to the chapter or section that I would like to select questions from. And as soon as I click on a chapter or section, the questions automatically load. Click the box by each question you want to add to your exam. Or, under Actions, select to add all these questions. And of course, if you find there's too many questions for a topic, simply go to Actions and remove all these items, which will only affect the current topic. The number of questions selected will appear in parentheses, and at the top is a total breakdown, depending on your filtering options. Select another chapter or section and continue to choose additional questions. Now that I've selected all the questions, you can see which topics the questions are being selected from, and at the top you can see the total amount of labs and the total amount of questions. I'll go ahead and click Done or the X in the upper right. The exam questions are now outlined. Click the eye icon to view the question, but please note you'll have the ability to preview the exam after you have completed your setup. Also, you can click the trash can to delete a question from this particular exam. Now let's go through a couple examples. I'm going to go back to my select questions. I'm going to go to my chapter here that I've selected questions from, and I'm simply going to go ahead and remove all of those from that entire chapter. So let's say I want to do a quick test from Chapter 3, and I want to include both regular questions and labs. Under my filtering option, those are already selected. I have the product selected that I'm going to use questions from, and in Chapter 3, I want to start with motherboard troubleshooting, and I want to select specific questions here. So I will go ahead and select the questions that I want, and then I can move on to the other topics that I would like to, again, hand select questions from. Now that I've selected the questions, I'll go ahead and click Done. And under the exam type, the questions can be delivered to the students in a random order, or perhaps I want them in a specific order. Here, I can rearrange the questions by dragging and dropping to the locations that I would like those to be, or I can click on the drop-down arrow and specify where I would like that question to be moved to. This way, you can arrange questions to be easier initially and more difficult as the exam continues. Okay, let's look at another example. I want to quickly have the system generate an exam without having to choose the questions myself. So I'm going to go back to the questions here. I'm going to go down to my chapter. Again, I'm going to go ahead and simply remove the ones that I've already selected. And now I'm simply going to go to chapter 3. I'm going to click under actions to add all the questions, and I can see there's a total of 160 questions available in that chapter. I'll go ahead and click done. And now I'm going to select the option that I would like a random subset of these questions. I can see at the top I have 17 blabs I can select from, as well as 143 different questions. Now the system will generate this automatically based on what I enter here. So I'm going to say that I would like to have 7 labs on this test and 35 questions. So those 7 will be selected from the 17, as well as the 35 will come from the 143. Now I can also use the display options so that everyone could see different questions and labs potentially on the exam, or I can select that everyone will see the same set of questions and labs. If you find a question that you really don't want to have on the test at all, then simply go ahead and click the trash can icon, and that removes that from the total pool of questions. Now, if you would like to schedule this exam before exiting, click the Schedule Exam hot link. Please note, scheduling is not needed for those linking the exam in their LMS, unless you want students to have more than one attempt. View the Schedule Custom Exam tutorial for more details on the scheduling. Click Done to save the exam. The exam is posted under the Custom Exams tab. To edit your exam, simply click on the exam title, make any changes that you need, and click Done. Unlike the quizzes in the course that students can repeat, these tests by default are limited to 1 attempt unless you change that during the scheduling process, thus providing great assessment exams.